Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're building the ultimate playbook for making your team, well, not just good, but great. We're going to unpack the strategies that turn those frustrating meetings into, productive powerhouses. Let's get started. All right, let's just dive right in with a feeling I bet we've all had, right? You're stuck in a meeting, you're spinning your wheels, it's going nowhere, great ideas are just getting lost, and you walk out and no decisions have been made. It's such a common problem, but here's the good news, it's totally solvable. So where does the solution start? Well, it begins with understanding this really fundamental concept. It's like a balancing act that every single high-performing team has to master. It's all about the dynamic tension between two key things, structure and interaction. Think of it like this. On one side, you've got structure. This is the skeleton of your meeting, right? The agenda, who's doing what, the rules, the schedule, basically everything that keeps the train on the tracks. And then on the other side, you have interaction. This is the creative energy. It's the discussion, the questions, that awesome back and forth that really sparks new ideas. So here's the crucial point. If you lean too hard on structure, everything gets super rigid and poof, creativity just dies. But if you lean too hard on interaction, you get total chaos. Nothing gets done. The real magic, the secret sauce for peak performance, is finding that perfect sweet spot balance between the two. Okay, so how do we actually apply this? Let's add the first real concrete play to our playbook. This is a proven step-by-step process for tackling pretty much any challenge, and it's based on a model from the philosopher John Dewey called reflective thinking. This path, it shows you exactly how to move forward. First, you start by clearly defining the problem. You gotta ask, okay, what exactly are we trying to do here? Then, you analyze it. You figure out the causes, and you set some criteria for what a good solution even looks like. Only then do you start generating options. You select the best one based on those criteria you set, and then, and this is so critical, you create a real concrete action plan. That third step, generating solutions, that's where a lot of teams really get stuck. So now that we have a process in place, how do you actually get the best ideas to the surface? Let's look at two super powerful but really different techniques to add to your toolkit. What's cool here is you can see a really clear contrast in the approaches. You've got traditional brainstorming, that free-flowing, talk-it-out session we've all been in. And it's great, especially if your team is comfortable and there aren't big status differences. But then you have something called the nominal group technique, or NGT. This one starts with silent individual writing. So everyone jots down their ideas first, and then you go around the room and share them. That one simple difference, it ensures that your quieter team members actually get heard, and it stops those big personalities from hijacking the whole conversation. But listen, generating a ton of ideas, that's really only half the battle. Just as important, maybe even more important, is knowing how to spot and avoid the single biggest threat to making a good decision. I'm talking about the dreaded groupthink trap. So what is groupthink? It's that really dangerous state where the pressure to just agree becomes so strong that people, they just stop questioning things. They stop raising concerns. The desire for everyone to get along just quietly kills all the critical thinking in the room, and that can lead to some truly disastrous decisions. So you've got to be on the lookout for the warning signs. I'm talking about things like, just general apathy or this feeling in the room that the group can't succeed anyway. A huge red flag is when everyone just starts deferring to one person, maybe the boss or just a really persuasive team member. If you ever hear someone say something like, let's not nitpick, let's just agree and move on, that's when your groupthink alarm should be blaring. But here's the good news. You can absolutely fight it. Think of these antidotes as your defensive plays. You can formally assign someone the role of devil's advocate. Their only job is to challenge ideas. Always measure your options against those decision criteria you set up earlier. Maybe bring in an outside expert for a totally fresh perspective. And before you finalize anything, make sure you spend some real time specifically talking about the risks. So you might be wondering, who manages all this? Who's the one calling the plays and making sure the team stays out of these traps? Well, that brings us to the coach's role. It's all about leadership and how that leadership, when paired with a really well-crafted agenda, can bring this entire playbook to life. Okay, now there are a ton of ways to think about leadership, right? Some focus on a leader's innate traits. Others are about adapting your style to the situation. But you don't need a PhD in organizational psychology to be effective, I promise. Because no matter what your personal style is, every single one of these approaches relies on one surprisingly simple, powerful, and practical tool to work. And what is that tool? It's the humble meeting agenda. Yep, this is where you implement that all-important structure we talked about. It is, without a doubt, the single most practical and powerful way to put all of these big leadership ideas into actual practice. And look, building a great agenda is actually a pretty simple 3-step process. First, be crystal clear on your goal. Why are you meeting? Is it to inform, to discuss, or to actually make a decision? Second, list all the topics you have to cover to hit that goal. And third, organize those topics logically. Assign time limits, and, super important, assign owners for each item. And here's what that looks like in the real world: a focused 45-minute meeting agenda. Just notice how every single minute has a purpose. You start with the goal, you move through analysis and checking your options, you force an actual decision, and then you end with crystal clear action items. Who is going to do what and by when? This is structure in action, and it's what creates the perfect space for truly productive interaction. So, as we wrap this up, the key takeaway is this: you literally have a playbook now. You've got a method for solving problems, you've got techniques for coming up with great ideas, you have defenses against groupthink, and you have the ultimate tool, the agenda, for structuring success. Really, the only question left is, which of these plays are you going to run with your team first?